There was a point in my parenting journey that I realized that I was no longer making decisions as myself, but as quote unquote mother, and who mother is supposed to be. And then I really couldn't tell the difference. If we haven't met before, I am Julie Behnken, and I work at the intersection of human design, Waldorf or Steiner philosophy, and identity work for mothers who are navigating life thresholds. Today, I'd like to talk about how modern motherhood can slowly take away your identity. And the more I've worked with women, I've realized that it's not personal, even though we tend to think that there's something wrong with us, that it must be our fault, it must be my fault. It's cultural. It's not a personal failing. It's set up this way. But it impacts us in deeply personal and isolating ways. So, becoming a parent, whether you're giving birth or however you come into parenthood, is really a sacred transformation full of potential for personal power and empowerment, and is of cultural significance, right? We are birthing the new generation. But that sacred transformation is left unsupported, and it's lacking support and attunement, is kind of overly medicalized to where the authority of what's happening, the control of ourselves and our experience, is external rather than internal, right? Of what do I do? What's happening? I'll have other people manage me in the whole birth process. That could be a video in itself. I'll save that for another day. But that powerful moment, you not only is a baby born, but you are born as a mother who is different. And while she is still you, it is a new version of you, right? And so while on one hand, we can't go back to the person and the life that we had before, we also have a constant self that is still there and that is evolving into a new version of self. And a new version of self. Yeah. But in the breakdown of the demands of newborn life, of the huge hormonal shift from pregnancy into postpartum, and really just the survival mode, that is just how the newborn phase is in many ways, especially when you lack support. That is a time where we support not the baby, but the mother. But we end up in survival mode. And with the way that our culture is set up, we often stay there. I have found that for me it took a lot to dig myself out from that survival mode and into who's the person that I am and that I want to be as a parent and be me. How do I support my child in being their best self and honoring who they've come onto earth to be if I don't know who the hell I am, right? Who the heck am I? How will I be a guide to have my child embody their best self, right? So that's the deep question. So we have these pressures of intensive motherhood, selflessness. We're supposed to give all of our time to our children and quote unquote bounce back and regain our place in productivity, right? And the phrase I like is, we're supposed to work as if we have no children, but parent like we have no other work. Somehow we're supposed to give everything to our child. There's this pressure that you're going to screw up your child. And granted, we know a whole lot more based on research and neuroscience and early childhood development that they didn't know in past generations. And that is a beautiful thing. But where we fall off is that good parenting isn't about just what you do for your child. It's about who you are as a parent. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you becoming? And who do you want to be? That is the most important thing, right? Because your child is going to, they sense, like, it's not just a do as I say, not as I do. It's, they hear what you say, they see what you do, and they feel how you are. So let that soak in, especially in early years. Children they don't know they're separate from you for the first 3 years for sure. So your energy, kind of what Rudolf Steiner refers to as your etheric field, sort of your energy life body, envelops them, right? You're part of the same energy. And so when we are losing ourselves, it's difficult to impart a healthy sense of self in another, right? So discovering Waldorf education for my son and then later discovering human design have both radically changed my parenting and my life for the better, right? I wanted to do all the right things, and I thought I was so informed when I had my son. I didn't know what I didn't know, but I didn't know who I was. And I feel like so many women give birth and then are like, where did I go? Who am I? And even well into the parenting journey as children are growing and entering school and yeah, it's like, where did I go? I'm just so-and-so's mom, right? But you matter too. In fact, who you are is critical. Not in a like add more pressure kind of way, but in a beautiful, this is how we change the world through our parenting kind of way, which sounds like pressure. But to step in and like I am a sovereign parent and like an embodied motherhood. If I am clear, I am sovereign, I will raise children who also are sovereign, authentic beings, right? That does not always look outside themselves for authority and trust in their own authority. As parents, especially in the early years, we are the authority of sense in a way, right? We're the ones holding the space, guiding the growth with gentle but firm boundaries around how we do what we do so that our children can feel safe in their little world and free to explore within that. And then when we know our human design of how our energy works and how we're designed to function in the world, like I'm a manifesting generator with sacral authority, so I'm designed to respond. Being a parent gives you plenty to respond to, right? And then working with our child's energy. When I found out that my son was a projector with emotional authority, he was a teenager. And oh my gosh, that would have been so helpful when he was a toddler, right? Wow. Wow is all I can say. Yeah. So for this video, I don't want to go too long, but I'm curious what has come up for you. So if this resonated, notice what came up and stay with that. Where do you feel that maybe that you have merged with your role and lost yourself, right? Do you know your human design? And even if you don't, and even if you're not interested in that, whatever has come up for you, whatever little voice in there that's like, oh, I see how that applies. to me, something that kind of made you think, yeah? Noticed what about you feels erased, because awareness is really the first step of reclaiming yourself. And I think as a whole, there's a lot of reclaiming to be done in motherhood, right? Of mothering on a grand scale, mothering for a better world. Yeah. And then each of us individually mothering as a better experience, is a more fulfilling and aligned experience. That while it is demanding and can be very difficult role, it is also beautiful and transformative, empowering, and we can step into that. Okay. So I'll leave it right there. Thanks for joining me. And if you'd like to explore your human design further, I've got a link to get a free parent human design chart down below. And thanks for being with me today. Bye.